He had found that insightful. A lull in her voice suggested she longed for the latter state. Management had assured him he would be finished at Hohenschönhausen jail by 8 o'clock, the time he would, on normal days, go for cheese toast and milk coffee at the corner café to see Lara, the waitress. He would keep his regular routine despite an irregular start to the day. That was a comfort, even if Lara had vanished several weeks ago. A roar, like that of an ailing beast, echoed from the street. He stretched out an arm and yanked the cord of his nightstand lamp. Light replaced darkness. After street cleaning came trash collection. There was an order to things. Above the sound of the truck, garbage men hollered to one another, shouting combatively. Zeiger rolled toward the nightstand, gaped into the dusty light. He dropped his legs off the side of the bed. His feet found his slippers. Gravity popped his bones into position. He rested his forearms on his knees, letting the folds of his body expand. Then he plucked his bathrobe from the hook by the nightstand and draped it over his shoulders. It took a moment to absorb the heat of his body. The coal oven was a moody piece of work and needed constant attention. There would be no use in firing it up this morning. It would take a good half-hour, and periodic poking of the embers even to warm the tiles, an hour before the bedroom was fully heated. He'd be in Hohenschönhausen by then. After Hohenschönhausen, the café, then an ordinary day at his desk, followed by another press conference in the evening he'd been ordered to observe. Thursday meant Kettwurst Day at the ministry cafeteria, something to look forward to. The woman on the phone the night before, a low-level secretary no doubt, had all but screamed at him, sounding shrill and panic-stricken, like a woman in the habit of losing her child in strange places. Hysteria was trickling down the ranks. He was to report to Hohenschönhausen jail for the interrogation of someone or other, she said. Bitte schön, danke schön, gute Nacht, Kamerad Zeiger. It had been more than 20 years since he was last at the jail. There was another thump next door, followed by gargling of pipes, giggles, and splashing sounds, all of which suggested that Schreibmüller and his guest had moved their operation to the tub. Zeiger had the urge to pound the wall, but he resisted and rose from the bed. By the time he reached the window, dots were dancing before his eyes, things that were not there. Then Lara's face appeared, a prim and taunting smile which caused the air to escape from his lungs with an awful hacking sound. He found the windowsill and steadied himself, peering into blackness. Outside, the hollow rhythm of heels on cobblestones, the unoiled wheel of a bicycle, traffic. Inside, the sound of his own heart furiously pumping blood to his brain by way of his ears. Only a few windows in the building opposite glowed with light. He saw no movements in them. Through a gap in the buildings, the TV tower antenna blinked with the soothing rhythm of a digital clock. The night sky was shrouded in clouds. Not long ago, street lamps had been outfitted with high-watt bulbs in emergency orange, a colour so glaring it obliterated any trace of a star. Street lamps in West Berlin had retained their soft yellow glow, but, as Zeiger had noticed during occasional visits, the night sky there was still as tremendous and black as their own. He did not register that he was smoking until he had opened the window and rested his elbows on the iced ledge outside. The bakery below was closed. It was not yet 5 o'clock, but a line had already formed. 7 early risers stood in thick coats and raised collars, their faces and shoulders turned against the wind. The street lamp threw a distressing light on the scene, adding to it an air of quiet catastrophe. By Zeiger's usual time, the line would have swollen and dispersed, and the bakery would have closed again, leaving a few latecomers to pace the corner like stray dogs. A woman in a towering ushanka arrived and placed herself at the end of the line, raising its count to 8. A man acknowledged her presence with a nod, then turned again to face the front of the line. Limited food and people...